The Vex, a collective of hyperintelligences, not just spanning over different timelines, but also over different realities. We've recently looked at what they are and where they come from, but today we'll be looking at the different military and combat units used by the Vex. Fighting the Vex requires a different approach. Unlike regular headshots to deal additional damage, the Vex's weakness lie within their core center, right around their lower abdominal area. However, those who are unfortunate enough to shoot off their heads, whether intentional or not, would find a much more frightening Berserker mode Vex with pulsating electricity coursing through them. To begin, the goblins are generally considered the cannon fodder frontliners of the Vex infantry. Low-level units that are easily taken down, providing much less of a threat than a malfunctioning robot. They do, however, attack in large numbers, and in most cases would serve as a diversion for much larger, more threatening presence such as minotaurs, cyclops, or even hydras. The hobgoblins are improved versions of the goblins, fitted with improved optic and motion tracking. Matched with high-powered long-ranged line rifles, these Vex's long-ranged infantries pose a serious threat in drawn-out battles. Another Vex variant that is commonly used as cannon fodders are the Fanatics. These are glitched Vex units that have resorted to performing kamikaze-based attacks in order to deal as much damage as possible before succumbing to their demise. More often than not, even after their destruction, they would leave behind a pool of radiolarian fluid that would continue to cause damage to any that stood in it. Harpies are the smallest unit in the Vex arsenal, nimble and agile, able to rapidly fly both in and out of combat, armed with a Vex laser rifle. Posing a serious threat against unprepared guardians, these Vex would often employ beams of high-intensity lasers and surround unsuspecting guardians in order to rain down a continuous stream of fire. Now, from here you may ask yourselves, with these cannon fodders being a frequent sight, what could possibly make fighting the Vex a challenge? Well, let me introduce to you the Minotaurs. Heavy-hitting mobile tanks, they would often hit hard, perform random teleportations, and move aggressively on the battlefield, oftentimes pushing back the front line in their favor. Heavily armed with an upgraded version of the Vex laser rifles, Minotaurs can easily melt through a Guardian's shield, making them much more dangerous than their cannon fodder cousins. Or siblings. In order to protect key points and objectives, the Vex would deploy stationary long-ranged artillery units known as Cyclops. These Cyclops fire large mortar rounds that deal very high damage to anything it hits. Any Guardian unlucky enough that would be caught by it would often find themselves needing a resurrection right after. Basically me. As with most Vex units, Cyclops themselves also have the ability to teleport into battle, albeit to remain stationary for the duration of said battle, firing volleys of high damage mortar upon unfortunate guardians. To further solidify their presence in any battle or skirmishes, Hydras would be teleported in, towering over all other Vex units, surrounded by impenetrable shields and armed with an Aeon Maul, a heavy artillery weapon that would bombard Guardian fire teams, suppressing them for prolonged amounts of time. Even if one were to take down a Hydra, their heads would explode upon death, causing devastating damage to those around it, enough to kill even a Guardian. Although incredibly rare, Vex Ultras are not confined to just one type of unit, but could be any of the Vex combat forms encountered, whether it be an Ultra Hobgoblin, an Ultra Minotaur, or even an Ultra Hydra. These are in most cases considered the Axis minds that commands a single or multiple Vex collectives, and would be considered the final boss of either a single strike or an entire raid. Similar to how other races have different legions and military organizations, the Vex have several collectives, each commanded by either an individual or a group of Axis minds that have been programmed differently based on the goals of the Vex. One of the most well-known or most commonly encountered collectives in the Sol system is the Sol Collective, made distinct with their bronze frames and seafoam patina, indicating aged technology. It's unknown as to when the Vex had arrived in the Sol system, or if they had always been here for millennia. But what is known is that the Sol Collective may appear to be the largest collective, as we have encountered several Axis minds belonging to this one collective alone. They have been heavily involved, if not directly responsible, with the conversion of Nasus into a machine world, with similar intent towards Io, with additional strong presence on Mars and Venus, both of which are incomplete machine worlds as well. Unlike other Vex collectives, the Sol progeny only consists of 3 Axis minds, individually named as Primeval Mind, Immanent Mind, and Eschaton Mind. Each Axis mind is a representation of the different eras of collectives, such as the Sol Divisive, Sol Immanent, and Sol Primeval. The main purpose of the Sol Progeny Collective seems to only be as a vessel for the Black Heart, as in when tendrils and essence of darkness emanates from their bodies. Not much is known about the Sol Immanents, also known as Descendants, with recent analysis suggesting that these Vex are of incalculable age, so old in fact that they are actually from the future and not the past. The Sol Divisive is the only collective guarding the Black Garden, being known as the Gardeners and Worshippers. We first encounter these Vex when entering the Black Garden. These Vex seem to also be the only collective to display a sort of belief and religion, worshipping the Black Heart in the Black Garden. After the destruction of the Black Heart at the hands of the Guardians, and the opening of another gate on the moon's surface, the Sol Divisive began an outward invasion on the moon, led by thousands of copies of the Undying Mind, an ancient Ultra Hydra feared even by fellow Vex. One of the most ancient of collectives encountered so far are the Sol Primeval, also known as the Precursors. First encountered in the Vault of Glass, these Vex are by far the most distinct of all collectives, being equipped with silver-white frames as opposed to the bronze most commonly seen amongst the other collectives. According to recent analysis, the casing used by the Sol Primeval had been built long before the Age of Humanity. In a way, it is the ancient ancestors to the current Vex that we encounter today. Following the death of Dominus Ghaul, it has been observed that the Soul Primeval, or at least a number of the collective, are making their way into the Infinite Forest to gather and unite under Panoptes' Infinite Mind. However, after the destruction of Panoptes, we can see the Soul Primeval, along with a number of Soul Immanent Vex, uniting under Dandron Root Mind. It's difficult to gauge just how many Soul Collectives there are, or the approximate number of Vex in existence, since they seem to be able to span through not just vast space, but even through time and reality. However, with recent events and occurrences, it has been proven that despite their terrifying capabilities, there's always a way to overcome the threats that they pose, as proven by our recent victory over both the Undying Mind and the Sanctified Mind. Though powerful, the Vex are not invulnerable, and we have proven time and time again that no matter the challenge, the Guardians stand to protect humanity against all that aims to destroy us. Thanks for watching. Do let us know what topic you'd like to see us do next. Until next time.